Let's talk about something we've all been told our entire lives, that success, discipline, it all comes down to motivation. But what if that's just a myth? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this powerful, invisible force that's actually running the show, controlling our habits and, ultimately, our success.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You get super excited, you start a new gym routine, a new diet, you swear you're going to read a book a week, and then after a few weeks, maybe even a few days, it just fizzles out. It is such a common struggle. So why? Why is it so incredibly hard to make good habits actually stick?
Well, our go-to answer is usually to blame ourselves. We think, I just don't have enough willpower, or I guess I'm just not a motivated person. We turn it into this personal, almost moral failing. But what if that entire idea is just wrong? What if the real reason we fail has almost nothing to do with our inner drive and everything, literally everything, to do with the world that we've built around ourselves?
To really see this in action, we have to go back in time, thousands of years back, actually. We're about to dig into a really surprising story from history that shows us the true invisible force that shapes pretty much everything we do.
James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, puts it perfectly. We give motivation way, way too much credit. The real game changer? It's our environment. And to prove just how powerful that is, we're going to look at our ancient ancestors. Okay, so let's jump in our time machine and go to the dawn of farming. We're going to use this brilliant insight from Jared Diamond's book, Guns, Germs, and Steel, because it turns out the simple shape of our continents had a huge impact on all of human history.
So just look at this. The Americas and Africa, they're mostly oriented on a north-south axis. They're kind of tall and thin. But that huge landmass of Europe and Asia, it runs along an east-west axis. Now, this seems like a boring little geographic fact, right? But oh man, its consequences were absolutely massive.
Think about it. For farmers in Eurasia, if you moved east or west, you stayed at pretty much the same latitude. That meant you got similar climates, the same amount of sunlight, the same seasons, so a crop that was first grown in, say, France, could in theory be planted all the way across the continent to China. It was basically a superhighway for agriculture. Now, let's contrast that with the Americas. If you're traveling north or south there, you hit completely different climate zones, fast. A crop that loves the Florida sunshine is not going to survive a winter in Canada. It's just not. So farmers couldn't just pass along their successful crops. They had to constantly start from scratch, finding and domesticating totally new plants every time they moved. And the result of all this? Agriculture spread 2 to 3 times faster across Eurasia. It wasn't because their farmers were smarter or more motivated or worked harder. Nope, their environment was just designed for success. It was this invisible hand that pretty much guaranteed their progress. So, okay, a better environment made for better farmers thousands of years ago. Cool story. But how does that apply to us today? Well, let's jump from history to modern science and see how our environment affects the most limited resource we have, our brain power. You know that feeling at the end of the day where you feel busy but you didn't actually get anything done? Well, neuroscience has a name for that, cognitive hyperactivity. It's when your brain is just so bombarded by notifications and distractions and little decisions that it just can't keep up. It's a direct result of a chaotic environment. See, your prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain that handles focus, decision-making, all that good stuff. It's an energy hog. It's only about 2% of your body's mass, but it can use up to 20% of its energy. Every single decision you make, every time you resist a temptation, you're draining that battery. There's a famous experiment that shows this perfectly. Researchers filled a room with the amazing smell of fresh-baked chocolate chip cookies. One group of people got to eat them. The other group, though, had to resist the cookies and eat radishes instead. Can you imagine? Afterwards, both groups were given a puzzle to solve that was actually impossible. And guess what? The radish eaters, the ones who had just burned through all their mental energy resisting those cookies, gave up way, way sooner. Their self-control was literally depleted. And this proves something so important. Willpower is not some endless moral virtue. It's a finite biological resource. It's like a muscle. And if you force it to fight a bad environment all day long, it's going to be totally exhausted when you actually need it for something important. Okay, so if we can't just rely on willpower, what's the answer? Well, the answer is to stop acting like a motivational speaker and start thinking like an engineer. Let's get practical and talk about how to design an environment that actually works for you instead of against you.
We're going to break it down into 3 simple but really powerful strategies you can use to re-engineer your surroundings for success. Let's go through them one by one.
First up, automate good decisions. The goal here is to make the right choice the easiest choice, the lazy choice. For instance, studies show that just by switching from a 12-inch dinner plate to a 10-inch one, people eat 22% less food. Automatically, no willpower required. Laying out your gym clothes the night before makes the decision to work out almost thoughtless. Automation is how you protect that precious willpower.
Second, get in the flow. This is all about making your good habits fit seamlessly into the life you're already living. You want to practice guitar more? Don't stick it in a case in the closet. Put it on a stand right in the middle of the living room. You're way more likely to go to a gym that's on your commute home than one that's just 5 minutes out of your way. You want to make the good habit the path of least resistance.
And number 3, subtract negative influences. This is basically about adding friction to your bad habits. If you hide the junk food on a high shelf instead of right there on the counter, you're just less likely to eat it. And maybe the single best productivity hack out there, just get your phone out of your bedroom at night. You don't have to be stronger than your distractions if they're not even there to begin with.
Now, these strategies are fantastic. They really work. But they all point to a much deeper, much more important change. This isn't just about a few tips and tricks. It's about a fundamental shift in how you think about discipline itself. The old mindset says, I need more willpower. I need to try harder. The new mindset says, I need a better system. I need a better environment. It's the huge difference between trying to be a disciplined person and creating a world where being disciplined is just the natural, easy outcome.
See, every time you lay out your gym clothes, every time you put your phone in another room, you're not just doing a task. You are casting a vote for a new identity. You're not just doing a disciplined thing. You are becoming a disciplined person. And these tiny wins, they compound over time, building a new self-image that's based on actual evidence, not just wishful thinking.
So I'll just leave you with this one question. Your environment is constantly shaping you. It's pushing you and it's writing your life story, whether you realize it or not. So the only real question is, are you going to let that happen by default? Or are you going to pick up the pen and become the architect of your own world?